with that, we have Spencer Jones, who has literally never been here before. Let's everyone welcome Spencer Jones.
Yay, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This has been it's amazing so far. Incredible speakers. And Michael, thank you so much for being able to swap spots. We had a challenge happening, and so I would have made it, but it would have been tight. So I really appreciate you letting me get some breathing room there, brother. Thank you so much. And yeah, the tape hasn't shown yet, so we'll keep the pearly whites glistening here. See, show them as much as we can. But oh my gosh.
Spencer and I have the best smiles, right? And we were caught in a was it a fire alarm in Maryland when we were outside and we're talking, and I'm like, oh, this is a fellow hippie because I always think of myself at heart. I'm like a corporate hippie, you know? And Spencer's like, oh yeah, he does all the stuff. I have those clothes and I do that. And a lot of what he does, I do. And I'm like, oh, this is my hippie brother for sure. So with that, I give you the amazing Spencer Jones. Go for it.
Oh my gosh, well, that's quite the lead in. It was an amazing and fun event in Maryland, the CLA Summit. Thank you, Jose, for hosting that. Excited for the next one. And yeah, hopefully there's no fire alarms this time because it was cold out there hanging outside, but we made it, we survived, we were here, and to be surrounded by amazing leaders is incredible, right? When you get to surround yourself with people who are their genuine selves, it's like nothing else because you get to feel their energy. And I'm a big energy guy. I'm a person who likes reading the room, whatever you want to call it, right? Marianne's like, yeah, me too. She's waving her hand here behind the scenes. You can't see her, but she's waving like, yes, me too. That we feel that energy, and we feel when someone's lying and someone's not true to themselves or true to their energy. We feel when they're real, when they're authentic, when they're themselves, their raw, true selves. And it and sometimes some people are really good at disguising it. I don't know about you. I've met some people who are really good at disguising their energy. And so we fall prey to that. Okay, Marianne's like, yeah, maybe maybe it was for me back then. I'll say, okay, for me, I struggled with it back then, for many years back then, being probably less 20 something years, because I wasn't tuned into my intuition, into my gut feeling. I would maybe feel something, but then I would ignore it and be um, distracted by all the glitz, the glamour, kind of like Michael said, right? Yeah, the lights, the shiny, and the glitter, and all those things that used to distract me because that was who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the person who was seeking fame, fortune, notoriety, whatever you want to call it. And it wasn't healthy. It wasn't really who I was, but deep down there was things that were working to build up who I am today, right? So the nickname my wife gave me even before we met, was Ego Man. I was a person who just loved themselves and loved sharing from the rooftops. Look at me, look at all the cool stuff I'm doing, and did a lot of cool things for some cool causes, but for the wrong reasons, right? I was just trying to get noticed. And what I noticed about me is I wasn't my true self. And it took me hitting my rock bottom of being suicidal, of losing friends, losing relationships, family, jobs, not knowing who I was. Like really, my life came crashing down. It felt like a bomb went off, and I didn't know who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like. Like, do I like chocolate ice cream? I don't know because every time I said yes to it, it was, do I please this person? Do I not please this person? I don't care about my own taste. Do I like this movie, this TV show? Whatever it was just to be a chameleon, to try to be liked, right? To try to feel loved, to try to feel worthy, to prove myself. Then I hit my rock bottom. I had to discover who I was. And that's where I really learned to take in about being authentic, right? And that was a tricky thing for me. And I remember even teaching. So prior to being a full-time entrepreneur as I am now, helping people with our personal growth company, I was a middle school, high school choir director. I did that for 9 years. I'm a professionally trained pianist, love playing music, love helping people express themselves through music. And I love teaching. It was a right calling at that time. And I remember learning and going into different classrooms and learning the other different teaching styles, right? I saw this teacher teach that way, and I really like that way. And I saw another teacher, I don't like that way. Okay, how can I make it my own in the classroom? But I didn't necessarily make it my own right away. I'm like, well, I'm just going to copy paste that, right? I like that. I'm just going to copy paste that. I'm going to do it this way. And then it's not working. It's not clicking, right? It's not performing the same way I saw it perform. Maybe it's from their years of experience, but it just wasn't clicking. Heck, even once I hit my rock bottom, I was learning and growing and stepping into my authentic self. We're trying to grow this business, trying to impact and help more people. So I would listen to different people, whether it was coaches, podcast hosts. I would read a book. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the strategy they're teaching. Let's copy paste it, right? And we see these people share these like, here, just implement the strategy. It'll make you 7 figures in 3 days or whatever stuff they're peddling. And okay, so I didn't necessarily buy into those big ones, but I'm like, okay, here's a strategy. Let me try it verbatim, right? Just copy paste it. And only to realize it wasn't working. It wasn't clicking. Maybe it helped some, but man, it wasn't converting like they said it was going to convert. It wasn't working the way it was gonna work. What's going on? And even as much as I'm my authentic self, you see me in tie-dye, you'll see me in crazy suits, you'll see me in shorts and a t-shirt, you'll see me dressed up in a tuxedo. I'm just me. But even when it came to the business side of it, I was me in some parts, but other parts I'm like, well, let's copy verbatim what the greats, quote unquote, greats did and do to do this. And why isn't it working? Until it hit me. And I'm sad, I'm disappointed, I should say, by how long it took me to realize it. It took me years, as in like a year or two ago, it hit me. Why am I just copying what they're doing? When I just learn what they do, learn the essence of it, and then make it my own. Sure, it might not be exactly what they did, but I bet you it's going to resonate with our people. It's going to hit that much more when I make it mine. So now not only am I being my true authentic self, I'm implementing and the stuff I'm doing resonates with me. It's my authentic self, our strategy. That can be based on these successful strategies of other people. Shout out to everybody watching. I appreciate it. I love all the comments. Hey, Nikki, Jim, Ellis, thank you so much for being here. Awesome, awesome. Love how you guys all show up and support. Thank you. And you've probably heard a lot of this stuff from the amazing speakers earlier. So let me ask you, have you ever felt like you were wearing a mask before just to try to fit in to lead effectively? Yeah, right. I see Mary Ann going, yeah, me, I've done that. I think we all have to some degree just to fit in, whether we were a kid. I started it when I was really young. I think we all did at points just to have friends. I put on these masks and then more masks, more masks, more masks until now I just shed them and I just shine my light as bright as possible. And I love helping people recognize those masks and take them off so they could shine their true bright light. Let's talk about being authentic and authentic leadership together, because that's what the theme of this summit is. So authenticity, in my opinion, and how I would describe it, it's being you, right? And you probably have your own description. You've heard other descriptions, but just so we're all on the same page for the next 15 or so minutes, it's you being you, fully, truly, authentically authentic. Does that make sense? Can I use a word in its own description? Probably not. But you're your true self. You're transparent. You're vulnerable. You're doing what is right with whether it's easy or not. I didn't mean to talk over you, Marianne. What were you going to say? I got excited.
I want you to be excited. I don't want to interrupt, but I was like, you can do whatever you want and you can make words up. I do words. I make up my own words. People look at me like, you have a publishing company? I go, yeah, you want to make something out of it? I spell either. I suck at spelling and I'm like, look, if I can one can do it. You can hire people to fix your spelling for Pete's sakes. No, please make up words. I love that.
I love that you do that and you're just real about it. Like, yeah, I make up words. I make spelling mistakes or whatever. Same here all the time. Thank God for Katie, my wife. She's amazing. She's our editor. She checks everything. And then sometimes I post things that she doesn't check. And she's like, hey, Spencer, what about this post? Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, let me go back and edit that. And it happens. It's who we are. So be you, be yourself. And that yourself doesn't have to be like me wearing hoodies and shine, just making up words and being hyper. Maybe you're more conservative or you're more of an introvert and you're like, I just want to be alone or do these little things. That's cool. You do what works for you, right? So authenticity is being you in your own way, whatever that looks like for you. Leadership as well. You have people following you in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be the quote unquote typical leadership that you see, right? You're a manager, CEO of a company, and you have all of these employees with you. Maybe Maybe not. Maybe you are a leader in a organization, right? And you're, the vice president, the secretary, or managing certain parts of a charity. Awesome. What about your family, right? If you have kids, you're a leader of them. They see what you're doing, of your peers, of your brothers and sisters, of other areas of your life, your friend group. You're a leader, even if you might not call yourself a leader. So when you are your authentic self, your true self, you're transparent, you're vulnerable, you're just being you, you're not pretending to be anyone, you're not wearing those masks, and you're leading, you're a lighthouse to all the people who are seeing you, right? Because you are showing them, hey, you are okay being you. Let your beautiful light shine, right? You're steady, you're reliable, and by being that guiding light, by being you, you make it okay for other people to be themselves. Just by being you, you give other people that permission. Whether you say it or not, you're giving them that permission to be themselves. And that is truly amazing. I think it says, even if even one is following you, you are a leader. 100%. 100%. Right? So be you. Be that lighthouse. So let's see how we could do it, right? But even before we do that, why does being authentic matter? Well, it builds trust, builds genuine connection with people. All right, we'll talk about how in a little bit, but inspires them, as I said, to be themselves. It creates resiliency, even creativity, and a supportive environment where people come in and support. Unleash You Now, they support their people like crazy. It's amazing to see what they do. Our Energizer family, same way. They're going to show up and be there to support you. Whether you're on the summit, they want to celebrate with you. Whether you're going through that valley, they're going to help you through. They're locking arms and helping you, shining a light on that next step and helping you take it. It's so amazing when you surround yourself with those types of people, because not only can you go faster, you can go farther together. And when you all get to be yourself, that's truly amazing. And you know what's interesting is our authentic selves might get along great. They might not. And that's okay, right? You're still going to be you. We're not going to align with everyone. Our energy's not going to synchronize with everyone. That's okay. And sometimes they synchronize, sometimes they don't at some points or another, right? They synchronize and then we grow apart. That's okay. Maybe come back together. That's cool. But by being you, you know you're doing what's right for you and you're inspiring other people to be themselves, whether they align or not. So I wanted to share 3 little nuggets of just really of how you can be you, of how you can be an authentic leader. And so first one, it sounds easy, but it's tricky, at least in my experience, and that is to be you fully, all in, going at just being you. Because you, as you are right here now, you are amazing, you are worthy, you are enough, just the way you are. Yet, we don't always feel that way, right? We look at our faults, we look at the things that we struggle with a lot, we look at we're not as far as maybe we want to be. We look at the negatives as opposed to those positives. And so I encourage you to be you fully by looking and embracing your strengths. What are some of your strengths? I bet you know them. Maybe you don't amplify them as much, but embrace your strengths and your quirks. What makes you you? What makes you unique? A little short story. So as I said, I was a teacher. Well, going into my interviews, I'm a person who talks fast. Shocker, if you haven't figured that out already. I talk fast. I mumble at times. I've gotten a lot better. I've worked on it over the years. I mumble and I mix up words. It happens at points. I get excited is how I like to frame it as. So in my interview, I'm answering questions, answering the scenarios that they give me, all of that. Every time I think every interview this happened, at least at some point towards the end, I would mix up some words or whatever. And I would just take a moment and say, hey, you know what? I would love this job. This would be amazing. Like, I think I'd really fit well. But just so you know, like, you're just going to get me. You're going to get my true self. And that means I'm going to pour my love, light, energy into the students, into this job. But you're also going to get the quirks. Like, I'm going to mix up words. I'm going to fumble up at times. And I'm just sharing, like, I'm not perfect, and I know that. And you just saw some of these faults, but I'm gonna instead of like being ashamed, like, oh my God, don't look like, oh, I hope you don't remember I messed up my words. I'm calling it out. You might try to forget it. I'm like, let's look at this. Look, I messed up. It happens. And that's okay. Right. But we're just gonna keep going. And that has won me more jobs than not, more job offers than not. That has won me, I won't say won, that's not the right word, has earned me, whatever. It helped the relationships build and come together and strengthen when I was just being my true self. I'm just being me. And then as I've gotten more comfortable teaching into it, I would dress up, wear shirt and tie or suits. Then I would start wearing what I first do. I started doing crazy socks. So I just it was hidden, but not hidden too much. So I could wear some crazy socks. And it started being ties and then tie knots. And that's where I pretty much ended that craziness before I retired and went to doing what I do now. But you can still show yourself even if you have stricter regimens or stricter guidelines you have to follow. All right, so number one, be you fully. Number two, lead with vulnerability. Be open, be honest, right? Like I was in that interview saying, hey, I messed up. I'm human. Right now, with the stuff that we do, I share when I'm struggling. I might not share in that moment, but I'll share at points, hey, I'm struggling in this moment, right? Or I struggled yesterday. The nickname actually Michael gave me is a Prince of Positivity, right? So, okay, I'm the Prince of Positivity. And I'm not talking toxic positivity, not everything sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, right? We go through struggles. Okay, let's look at them. Let's share that out. I'm not someone high and mighty who's on the summit all day long. No, I go through the valleys. I struggle. So let me share that with you. Okay, but enough about me. What about you? How many times do you hide those struggles in your life just because you don't want the world to think badly of you or to share it out? I'm not saying you need to share everything out with the world. It's not a poor me situation, but sharing, hey, I'm struggling right now. Maybe I need just give me some grace today, or I'm struggling with it here, or this is what I struggled with. Here are some of my takeaways. So now you're teaching and helping other people. There's ways of still showing up and being vulnerable, being yourself, letting them know, hey, you're human. Humans make mistakes, right? As leaders, we do that hopefully all the time. Our team makes a mistake, right? For us, let's say an email, our team member, I write all the emails and our team member schedules them up and sends them for us. Great. Sometimes they forget to put in the first name, right? To make sure it's customized. Okay. But when that happens, I realize it. I give them grace, but I own it. I'm like, hey guys, I made a mistake. I didn't catch this. Own it, right? Be vulnerable. Show that you're human, that you make mistakes. And as a leader, own those mistakes of your team. You work with your team and help them through it. Own it, right? You could be there for them. You could show the vulnerability to your team, help building that trust, but also to everyone else who sees you, who follows you, who's inspired by you just by being you and shining your light. Jim says, yes. Nick says, vulnerability isn't defeat or weakness. No, it's not. It's a beautiful strength. It's a beautiful strength, especially when you couple that with going forward. Like, okay, I'm vulnerable. Let me share this. But here's where I'm going forward. If it's the vulnerability of just trying to be, oh, poor me, that wears on people. It might work at first, but then it starts wearing. So take that. Well, let me be vulnerable. Let me open, but let's keep moving forward with where we're going. Even if you feel stuck, you're still moving forward, but share part of that journey with them so they could see that growth. So when people who are looking in and see you, they go, oh, okay, look at them. They've struggled, but now they've been through it. That means I can get through it, right? How can I keep going? Well, look, they did it. I can do it too, right? Whoever that is. And you could see those stories. You could read those books. You could watch the movies of that storyline over and over and over again, help give you inspiration and hopefully give you the motivation. Talk about one of Jim's posts earlier. Inspiration's great, but you have to take the action, take that action to keep going. The third thing is it's a beautiful saying, man, is this tough to do. And it's one of our cornerstones as energizers, and that is to respond with love. Respond with love. So much easier said than done. When someone's berating you, belittling you, your team, what you do, or whatever, sometimes I don't know, for you, I feel I get angry. I start getting I start getting all flush in the face and I start choking up on my words, but I get pissed off and I just want to retaliate at them. And then I go, well, how would I respond with love? What would that look like? It's usually not responding in a way that's just throwing anger and venom and trying to belittle them, because that's only going to hurt them and or hurt me. That doesn't do me or the world any good. Instead, let's show love, let's show compassion towards them, but also towards yourself. How many times do we beat ourselves up and we belittle ourselves? Show yourself some love. Respond with love to you because you matter too. So now you're responding with love to yourself and others. And when you catch yourself not responding with love, because it's going to happen to all of us, show yourself some love and grace then too and be like, okay, let's just come back to it. Even, okay, holiday time can be extremely stressful, right? You're going shopping for food or gifts or whatever. You're out and you see people really stressed out and they're struggling and they may say something, they might do something rude or be rude to somebody else. And you can just observe and go, how can I respond with love? Or if I was in that circumstance, how would I respond with love? Just as a fun to me, little challenge of how would I handle that differently? Once I started to intentionally live my life with responding with love to everyone and myself included, my life changed drastically because I loved life more. I wasn't angry as often. I was enjoying and savoring moments, and more amazing, beautiful things started to happen for me. So those are the three little nuggets here, and I know I see my time starting to wrap up. So first of all, just I want to repeat: be you fully. Just be you. See if you can identify one of your strengths and one of your quirks and embrace it. Number two is lead with vulnerability. I invite you to share a challenge that you're facing or have faced with your team, with your community. And third, respond with love. I invite you to think today and this weekend, at least once, pause and ask yourself, how can I respond with love? It's the word game changer or phrase game changer is overused, but man, it really is if you can work at it. And it's a practice. You're not always going to get it right. And that's okay. You're trying, and that's a beautiful thing. When you lead authentically, I'm going to change that. Not only when you lead authentically, when you live your life authentically as your amazing self, and you're letting your true light shine. And you might realize, hey, I have these walls, these armors, these barriers stopping me from shining bright. Cool, you recognize it. Then you can work at dissolving it. That's beautiful. And then your light continues to shine bright and more people could see it. But when you live that way, you inspire others to shine their beautiful light. We all have that gorgeous light inside of us. It's shining bright. We built up so many walls and masks and armor to hide it. Dissolve them. Let them go so the world can see your beautiful light. So you can shine your true light with as many people as possible because it is truly amazing. How can you show up authentically this weekend, this year, and into the new year? It's a lot of things. So pick one. Of all the things I've said, pick one. Of all the speakers you've heard, the incredible speakers sharing all these nuggets and different tips and different stories, which ones resonated with you? Maybe it's something I said, maybe it's not. That's cool. Pick one, at least one thing to take action on. You are worth it. So go shine your beautiful light. Marianne, thank you so much for having me. I'm deeply grateful. I appreciate you and all you do for the world. Keep shining, Marianne, and everyone. Keep shining your beautiful lights.
Thank you, Spencer. You're so awesome. I think we look alike. We could totally be brother and sister. Blonde hair, blue eyes, right? Blue.
100%.
And great smile. Like, come on. Everyone's got to agree with us. Spencer, you're awesome as always. I'm gonna
So are you. You're awesome.
I am awesome. Thank you. You guys have got it. Next time, can you bring a picture? Because I don't think I have. I was trying to look for it, but that was so long ago. I can't find it in my phone of Spencer's suit. So he still wears suits, but nothing like before. They're so awesome. It was like, oh my God, I love it. We were outside and it was raining in this in Maryland when the fire alarm went off, and we're like trying to hide from the rain, and then we're like, yeah, this isn't a real fire drill. We're just gonna stay inside.
Right,
Rebels.
here you go. Here's let's see, is this the full suit? There you go. There's the full suit for you.
There, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Gotta love authenticity. This is like I gotta do an authenticity one next year too. I just gotta call it something else. But maybe I don't. Maybe I just call it this again.
Right.
I'm in charge.
Yeah, exactly. Right. If it resonates with your people, that's a beautiful thing. So thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to keep watching the amazing people.
Thank you so much.